All right. Moments ago, we spoke with Frank Spatto, who is the German Flatts Town Supervisor, and he has an opponent whose name is Peter Rovazzi. And Peter is now the Republican candidate. This is a very heated issue involved over flooding in that Creek Road area of German Flatts, which encompasses parts of the rural area, which would be south of Mohawk, along with Mohawk and Ilion. German Flatts. Peter Rovazzi gets his shot to come on the radio here this morning. He is a candidate for the supervisor position. Peter, thanks for coming on. I'm assuming you'd like to respond to some of the things that Frank said earlier this morning.
Yes, good morning, Bill.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good.
Yes, I'd like to start off by saying that, Frank had said that all of the homes, the units in the mobile home park were totally destroyed. He said that numerous times. That's quite ironic because 4 out of the 7 homes are still there.
He showed us pictures that showed at least 3 or 4. How many would you say, Jeff?
I saw 4 that were
at least 4 trailers tipped over, basically, and off their foundation. Do you say that those pictures are fake?
I don't say the pictures are fake, but they just tilted. They did not tip over, anything like that.
Okay. Listen, Peter, that's your home that just tilted over. I'm not sure that that saying that that's not a big deal. I don't think you can say that. I understand we're dealing with. He said all the homes were destroyed. They weren't really destroyed. But to say that your house just came off its foundation and tilted on its side is pretty traumatic, I would say. Would you?
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
So I don't think that's worth arguing over, to be honest with you.
Okay, but there's homes in Mohawk that the foundation walls were totally collapsed, blown out of them.
Understood.
And they put them back underneath, put new concrete walls, and people are living there.
Yeah, I get that. I don't understand I don't understand what constitutes something that shouldn't be inhabitable on a flood zone, and what constitutes something that is allowed to remain. I don't know the details of that.
I'm trying to constitute what he's saying is totally destroyed. How are they there today if they're totally destroyed?
Okay, all right.
He also said that he can speak because it's not in litigation. This is still going to the appellate court. The dates have already been set somewhere between January 8th and the 18th.
Okay.
It's kind of ironic that just days before the election, he can now speak.
Got it.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, we've all said. I criticized him during the time that I thought he should talk. He claims his attorney told him he couldn't talk. And
he was asked numerous times by the members of the taxpayers and of the public to speak, and he said, I can't speak. But when you start a litigation on behalf of your taxpayers, you have a duty to speak.
Well, that's not true. Your attorney is going to tell you you can't talk, and that's what his attorney told him. So I disagree with you on that.
I do agree, though, that if it's still an appeal.
He should have said, well, the problem is, and I asked this question, so why can you talk now and you couldn't talk before? And the answer is that the family just continues to keep appealing this. This could go on forever. What's going to come next, he said. At this point, I have no choice. I asked my attorney if I could speak, and my attorney said I could speak here. All I can tell you is what he's saying. That his attorney told him. But I don't want to be speaking on his behalf.
Well, like I said, I just want to address a few other things.
All right.
There's no violations from FEMA or DEC on this mobile home park. This started at the town level. And
what do you say? What do you say though because he showed us documents? He showed me documents that basically had the blessing of the DEC. And FEMA also told us that if they would have allowed this and they had not enforced this, that they were in jeopardy of losing their insurance and losing their FEMA funding. Do you say that he's lying about that?
I have paperwork that says that the FEMA you cannot jeopardize FEMA insurance to the other residents of this town basing on a preliminary map. The town is trying to enforce a preliminary map, which DEC and FEMA both say is illegal to enforce.
Again, in the weeds for me. I don't know what this. We don't know what any of that really means. I know this has been thrown around, but we don't know what. I don't know what that means, and I don't think listeners are going to know what that means. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean
it's technical stuff.
Yeah, it's technical stuff, but that's the basis.
But he's saying, well, let's just keep it down to the level of us. And I don't want to speak for you because you might be well versed in all of this stuff, and I don't know. But for me, he said the insurance, they would lose their insurance company if there was another flood, and people were injured and they didn't enforce this, so they would lose their insurance and they could lose funding. Do you say that he's lying about that?
Yes, I say that's untrue because he's not factually presenting all the facts.
Okay. And do you deny the paperwork that he showed us that said New York State, the DEC said that they were what was being done, the fact that they were enforcing this was the right thing to do? You deny that exists, or that document that he showed me is false? Do you believe it's false?
I didn't see the document that he showed you. All I can say
I'll get those. I will get those documents. I think we should post those documents, and then even as early as tomorrow, if you want to talk about those and debate those. But having those documents there, just me saying I saw them is not. I'll ask if we can get them and we can put them up in a post because it'd be worth looking at.
Sure. Good.
Okay.
And like I said, I mean, I want to say that he said that this mobile home park has been flooded numerous times. In 2006, there was a little bank erosion along the stream bank. Everybody inhabited. 2013 was the first flooding with damage. And the creek was full. The thing that above stream at the mouth of the highway department, after the flooding of 2013, they spent 2 weeks hauling gravel and debris out of the stream. And that's where it breached and went down through the backyards where the stream wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. If you become supervisor and a property owner, and again, this is what he told us, and you can correct us if this is wrong, but I'm pretty sure your mom and your stepdad confirmed this. If you are a supervisor and you have to go into a property and say to the town decide, and by the way, the town board voted against your family, and it was a 4 or 5. I don't know how many members are on the town board, but it was like 5-0. This isn't all just Frank Spatto. The town board voted against your family, so he just then enforced. My question to you is: if you're placed in a position as town supervisor, if you win this election on Tuesday, and you have to go in and tell somebody that, listen, this garage you just put up, you built the garage, you didn't follow codes, and you didn't have a permit. How would you handle a person like that? And do you think that you, as the supervisor, should just forgive them and say, well, next time don't do it? How would you, as the supervisor, handle a situation like that?
Well, I believe you have to inspect the situation.
Well, if they went forward without a permit, do you agree they need a permit to do construction?
I do. I believe you need a permit if they built on a preliminary map, and that's what you were trying to enforce. I know from DEC and FEMA standards that is not. So I would not stand behind and make somebody tear a structure down when DEC, FEMA, I'll provide you with the documentation, say that they cannot enforce a preliminary map.
Then I'll ask you, how do you justify then that your family constructed and did construction when they were told not to and they didn't have a permit? How do you justify that? I mean, I'm just being fair here. They didn't have a permit. How do you justify construction? And you're running for this position where you're going to have to enforce the law. How do you justify construction if you don't have a permit? It's basic law. That's the law. How do you justify that? Is there any way that you can say, if you become town supervisor, there's a situation where someone should, as a property owner, be able to build on without a permit, and when the town has told them they can't build?
All right, let's back up here a minute.
No, I just want an answer to that question. Is there any case that you believe that a property owner has the right to go against what the township says, if the town says, no, we're not issuing a permit, wouldn't the proper way to do this be to go into court and fight the fact that the town said no? So you'd follow the legal process. But to just build is illegal. And you can go to the appellate court all you want. You're not going to win that case. So how do you justify that? That's my question.
I mean, I've heard that. Let me speak now. The codes enforcer under oath in deposition said 5 out of the 7 homes are in no part of a floodplain and do not require any sort of...
You're not answering my question, Peter.
You keep interrupting.
But I'm asking you specifically, how do you justify building without a permit?
The permit was not needed, Bill. If 5 out of the 7 homes need a building permit, why aren't you issuing a building permit?
But
that's what the taxpayer...
Listen to me. That's your assessment. The town board voted and put a stop work order on this. That's indisputable. They told you to stop, and you did the work anyway. Now find me a codes officer, a town supervisor, any county official, any attorney, any government official, a judge, anybody that's going to say that you can still move forward despite the fact the town had a work stop on that. And the only way to move forward would be not to construct, but would be to go to court and sue the township over the fact that they didn't give you a permit. But to just do the job and think it's going to be okay, there's nowhere in New York State law that it allows for that.
Well, Bill, I mean, you seem to have your own side of the story.
That's not my side of the story. It's a fact. I'm trying to break down the facts and say...
They have applied for 3 permits, Bill.
I understand, but wouldn't you say, though, that the argument would be that the town... I'm not saying the town was fair. I'm not saying that. But following the process, shouldn't they, your parents, have gone and fought the fact that they didn't give a permit, as opposed to saying, I'm just going to build. I'm going to do it. You can't stop me. I don't know how you can do that in a municipality.
That's not true. They didn't do that. They filed for permits, and they were not given permits justly. I mean,
I do. But you're serving as the judge here. You don't have the right to do that. You then need to, if you feel as a homeowner or a business owner or a property owner, if you feel that you have been wronged and you have not been given a permit, and the town has some vendetta against you, or it's unfair, or it's just not legal.
Or they're wrong.
You then have to go and follow the process. And I'm not picking Frank over you or your family or anything, but I'm telling you, as a homeowner, as a business owner, as someone who pays taxes, you can't build if the town says you can't build. And the only way to do it is to go to court and get permission from the court. And did your family do that? Because that's
what they're doing. They've taken it.
But they built. You did construction there after they told you not to. That to me is where this legal battle is a no-brainer. I don't know how you can ever win in court, because if the state ruled that it was okay to build without a permit, how does the state handle every other municipality in New York State that enforces their codes and enforces permits?
Well, like I said, that's your side of the story, Bill. But the codes enforcer was there. The codes enforcer was there during the construction. This place is no different than it was prior to the flooding. It looks identical. Everything's in the same spot.
Right.
It's not that this is development. It was a simple repair, Bill.
I understand, but was there a work stop? Was there an order from the town to stop work?
At one point there was.
And did the work continue? And did the work continue anyway?
Then they filled out a floodplain development for the local town judge, and then the board overruled their own court. It went beyond. The judge wanted the local judge, town judge, wanted to keep it out of Supreme Court, save the taxpayers' money, fill out the floodplain development permit, and he said, "We'll move on." I'm not
saying you weren't wronged. I don't know that, whether you were or you weren't. I'm not saying, but
all right.
To build without a permit, Peter, you just can't. You can't win that.
All right, I have a couple other things I want to address here.
Okay.
I mean, Supervisor Spatto said that, bucket loaders were brought in to take residents out of the home. And he heard people screaming and for their lives and whatever. That's completely untrue. Supervisor Spatto was in Maine at the time of the flooding. And people were taken out of homes down in the village of Mohawk where they actually ruined a tire on the loader. So be fair and be equitable when you talk about people being removed from homes.
Okay, well, that's going to be your word against his word, and he said he was. You say he wasn't.
Okay.
All right.
And I want to address the fiscal stress. You and Mr. Spatto addressed the fiscal stress happened, and he agreed with this, that it happened from 2013 on. The state comptroller issued that we were in fiscal stress in 2012 as a township. So that is untrue.
Okay.
So we've been in 2 weeks ago. He says that I accused that in 2017. In 2 weeks ago in the newspaper, the headlines were state finds German Flatts and fiscal stress.
Well, what he's saying is that was if they were in any bit of fiscal stress, it was again we're into the weeds here, and he's saying this, and you're saying that's not true. Ultimately,
the headlines in the newspaper 2 weeks ago, Bill.
Yeah. Okay.
German Flatts makes fiscal stress list.
All right.
So I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not lying about it. Like I said, it's time that our elected officials stand up and make the right choices and provide the facts to the residents.
Peter, I have to ask you, though. I know you're right. It would be crazy for you to say that running for this office has nothing to do with the fact that there is a battle between your family and Frank Spatto, and that it's about this trailer park.
It is not about this trailer park.
You don't believe it is?
No, my basis for it is I've seen where this township needs to represent the taxpayers fairly and equitably. Give them the honest answers, provide them with the information, not that they're going to lose flood insurance. Don't threaten them with that and this and that. Be honest with the public is what I want. I want transparency within the government.
All right. And listen, I know you think I'm arguing with you about the fact that you guys are wrong in being upset or wrong in your fight. It's not the point. My point is just basic law. If there's a work stoppage and the township or the municipality says stop working, you can't just take it upon yourself to continue working because you think it's unjust. You have to follow the proper procedures and go through the court system. But you worked without a permit. You worked when they told you not to. And to me, that's not something worth fighting. I don't think you can fight that.
Do you want me to bring up information on other homes that are in this town? I mean, I do this for a living.
I understand, but it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. What matters? The only thing that I'm talking about is the permit, and the fact that a municipality has the right to say stop working. And when that happens, shovels down into the courtroom, and you hope that the court is going to rule quickly so you guys can continue. And I'm going to tell you, anybody that's losing their property, I can't imagine what your family is going through. I feel for what you guys are going through. I truly do.
I don't think you do because
no, I do. But I also feel there's a rule of law, and that goes beyond people's feelings, Peter. And I'm sorry, but you can't. What was done there, and based on what I've read, is legally wrong. Yeah, I am saying the same thing over and over again. There's no justification to build without a permit. That's all.
Yeah. What are you saying that it's not true? Are you disputing that? Because the point Bill keeps driving home, you're right, but we can't seem to get beyond that point. Was work done without a permit?
Without a permit,
was a work stoppage.
With a work stoppage, and the answer is yes, because your family admitted that on the radio to us.
You guys keep talking over each other. You tried to ask a question, and Bill talks over you.
All right, Peter. Listen, Peter, don't get snarly on me, okay? I know this is tough, but I'm the wrong guy to pick a fight with here. I'm saying let's clear the air. So answer this question specifically. Was work done without a permit and after the township ruled that work should not be done? Yes or no?
Yes.
End of story. That's the answer I've been trying to get for the last 15 minutes.
Why didn't the town work with the owners to resolve
that? That needs to be dealt with in court. You go to court for that. You hire an attorney and you sue. And instead, your family took it upon themselves to serve as the court and build anyway. And all I'm trying to say to you is not that you're not your family hasn't been wronged or any of this. All I'm saying is that's where you can't win. And that's where your family was wrong. It should never have been done. It can't be done in any municipality in New York State. And it can't be allowed because it would create chaos.
Well, that's untrue, Bill, because there's homes in German Flatts. Maybe we're going to start tearing them down out in the country.
So so you're telling me there are other homes that the township said don't work on this property, don't do anything, and we're not issuing you a permit. You're telling me there are other homeowners that worked and went against the ruling of the town, and they haven't been penalized? Are you saying that?
Yes, there was inspections that weren't completed. They were issued stop work orders, and they continued, and the home is still standing.
All right, and well, I think then if that's true, you should get those people to come forward, or you should bring that up. That would be a case, part of your lawsuit. I think that that should be a part of that they singled you out. If that's true, that would be terrible.
I mean, we had building permits that were issued, and
beyond all of that,
they have been singled out.
All right. So, any other things that you feel that Frank represented on the radio earlier this morning? And to be fair, it's the first time we've had an opportunity to speak to Frank on the air. Any other things that you feel he was incorrect or lied even about, that told things that were not true?
Well, just basically on the preliminary mapping and stuff like that, I believe he's deceiving the residents by saying they're going to lose their eligibility for flood insurance.
All right. And what do you say to the board members who ruled unanimously against this park? And it's not just Frank, but it's also those board members. What do you say to those board members?
I asked at a board meeting, how many of the people, when the information was out there, reviewed one page of the information or all of the information? And I had board members come out and said, and they said right in the special hearing, they said, I haven't reviewed any of it, and I wouldn't understand it if I did. And I had another one ask about, are there any surveys on the property, which there happened to be 2 surveys and 2 different engineering reports. Yeah. So the moral of the story is they didn't review any of the information, and they admitted it.
So what do you say to that?
And voted to continue it to court.
Yeah. And what do you say to those board members?
I don't believe that is representing the best interest of the taxpayer. I don't think that's being transparent. And these are the things that my campaign that I want to see happen, and I want to see representation fairly and equitably for all people within the town of German Flatts. Residents, taxpayers, board members, anybody.
All right. All right, Peter. I'm sorry it got a little heated, but I appreciate you coming on the air. And
that's fine. Like I said, the facts need to come out, and I think, time that the deceiving stops.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I wish you the best. And you've already won. You won the primary and a pretty, like about 100 votes or something. The Republican primary. The election, of course, is coming up on Tuesday, 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. And I do wish you the best. And I know it might not seem this way, Peter, but I do feel for you guys. Any homeowner or property owner that has to go through this, it's I can't imagine what you're going through. So I do feel for you guys.
Well, I understand. And like I said, adding to that, I know, Supervisor Spatto says that, well, he's trying to turn the table the other way and say that they're costing the taxpayer money. They're just standing up for their rights, which they believe in. If you believe there's errors in any sort of a ruling or whatever, you would question it. No different than it happens in cases every day.
Right. Okay. So, I again can't imagine what your family's going through. So I appreciate it, Peter. Thanks.
I would not want to see it happen. In my campaign, I would not want to see this happen to anybody else.
All right.
Nor have the taxpayer expense, this burden and all this going on.
Got it. All right, Peter Rovazzi, thanks and good luck on Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time, Bill.
All right. I know that got heated. I was just trying to pound home only one thing, and this is the sad part of this story, and we talked about it maybe a couple of months ago, is no matter how unfair it is, procedure. You got to follow the law. And when you take it upon yourself to just say, well, this isn't fair, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, that never, ever ends well. And, you know, I do feel we pay a lot of money, pay a lot of taxes. We feel like this is our property. I can do what I want on it. Well, that is until they tell you you can't.